An Amazon delivery partner, Jamaiya Miller, says she was just doing her job on December 16th at a Texas apartment complex when she ended up getting assaulted and held against her will by two white residents. Let's take a look.
Yeah, you don't give a shit. You got to drop you off.
Yeah. We've had thieves here, and you're a thief?
Excuse me, don't touch me.
No.
Don't touch me. Excuse me.
Let me.
Excuse me, please don't touch me.
Don't
Literally
touch me. If you
literally touching me.
I'll get security.
Okay, yeah, do that, please, because she's harassing me. Thank you. Please call security.
On you.
Thank you. Please call security.
You don't calling it on
Excuse me.
You don't. You're.
Excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me, ma'am.
You're.
Excuse me.
She's attacking me.
Please call
She's
security.
attacking me.
I know.
She's attacking me.
Please call security.
Calling you.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Stop here.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Stop.
Excuse me. Excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me.
Amazon.
Do that, please.
Oh, please do it.
Jamaiya Miller now joins us from Houston. Thank you so much for being with us today. I know that this had to have been a traumatic experience. First of all, how are you doing?
I'm doing better since this did happen on December 16th, so I'm definitely doing a little bit better than that night.
Right. And take us to that night. You were making a delivery, and as a part of that delivery, there were special instructions that were attached to go right to the door of the resident. And so what happened as you were trying to make this delivery?
Exactly. Yep. Like you said, it had delivered to suite in the directions. So when I got to the building, the resident with the dog, she let me in. Nothing went wrong until I tried to exit the elevator on the floor that I was to deliver on. And she started berating me. They both started harassing me. And eventually the one with the phone that you see hitting me, she eventually, is punching with her phone. She throws me up against another resident's door. She even eventually dislodges the package from my hand. And at that point, I finally go to try to leave. And even that, she tries to keep me against my will on the floor. And eventually the doorman comes up with the first lady I interacted with, the one with the dog. They finally get there. So the situation kind of de-escalates and I'm able to leave. But up until that point, I really had no idea how I was going to get out of the situation.
And there's one part specifically in this video where she is saying you are hitting her, but she is clearly hitting you. I'm sure that in your mind, that must have taken it to another level.
It did. And honestly, before I slowed the video down and really looked at it, I wasn't sure how much I got on camera. I'm glad I got her literally saying she was that I was attacking her as she's hitting me. I do think that lends to my credibility some, because there were a lot of things that she was spewing that, it was my word against hers. But I'm glad that I do have that video, because, that was just a really dangerous situation if law enforcement got there and, she's saying these false things.
Right, your word against her word, and then it's just really left up to whoever decides who's telling the truth. Where are you now in terms of what Amazon has said to you or done for you, or what you are doing in terms of your next steps for any accountability? Yep,
so I've not been able to bring myself to continue working with Amazon. They haven't enacted anything. They are allowing me to. I am still contracted as an Amazon Flex employee, so I could do that. But the emotional turmoil of not knowing if I'm going to have to deliver in another area like that or interact with another resident like that has just it's been honestly like insurmountable. So I haven't actually been able to pick up another Amazon shift. Amazon contacted me this morning. They expressed, their support. They are also conducting their own investigation and working with my local law enforcement here in Houston. So yeah, it does seem like the Amazon's behind me.
Are you going to press charges?
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right. And yes?
Oh, sorry. I did actually press charges. Like the night of, I told the police that I wanted to go ahead with pressing charges, that I did classify this as an assault. So they took the police report the night of on site. She was in her home. The doorman was there. They didn't speak to anyone. They didn't attempt to make any arrests. So now at this point, police are still looking for her. The investigator told me as of yesterday, he still hasn't been able to identify her. Despite knowing the building, despite knowing the floor that she lives on, apparently the building cannot tell the investigator, the police, who this resident is. So yeah, the investigation is moving kind of slow right now.
I see. And in terms of the protocol, this is kind of par for the course. Like, you've done this before, where you've gone into buildings when there have been special requests to drop items at the door. That's not abnormal. Exactly.
Yeah, I do several different gig apps. I do DoorDash, Uber, Amazon, and this is very, very normal. A resident to see you and identify you as an Amazon employee because you have your vest, you have a package, and they just let you in. It's never been a problem before. How it escalated was super out of the ordinary.
And in terms of, we really can't see her face. Was she about in her 70s, I'm guessing?
I would say, yeah, at least that.
Okay. All right. So Amazon, they did provide this statement to local affiliate KPRC. The events depicted in this video are concerning. We're supporting a delivery partner and working with law enforcement as they investigate. We proactively communicate to drivers who deliver for Amazon that they are never required to make a delivery if they feel unsafe. A representative from Belle Meade at River Oaks apartment complex released this following statement. Our staff is aware of the unfortunate incident that took place on December 16th between an Amazon delivery driver and two residents. The actions of third parties do not in any way reflect the values of Belle Meade at River Oaks. We care deeply about creating a hospitable environment and safety of all residents, guests, employees, and service providers. The Belle Meade at River Oaks policy is that all packages and parcels are to be delivered to the concierge desk. To the best of our understanding, a resident mistakenly allowed the Amazon delivery driver onto restricted access elevator and a resident halfway within the building where the event took place. At this time, we are exploring all options and fully cooperating with the Houston Police Department. Due to the ongoing investigation, please direct all further inquiries to HPD. So I know that you have suffered so much emotional trauma from this run-in with these two women. What do you think, though, about the responses, these two responses, especially the second one from Belle Meade?
Yeah, so I'll say that Amazon's response is consistent with how I have felt from them, even from the night that I called. I had to call their emergency dispatch, and they've always throughout this process been very supportive of me. I do know, like they said, that it is their policy that if you are unsafe and you can't complete a delivery, that it is okay to not complete that delivery. That's why when she did dislodge the package from my hand, I was like, whatever, I left. But the Belle Meade, I think, has had a very interesting response. They can do more. I do believe that this resident should be evicted and that process should already start taking place. The apartment complex has admitted that violence from tenants on their property is call for an eviction. So I do think that there is more that they could be doing, that they could be doing it swifter. I do believe that they are protecting this woman, and they're trying to protect themselves, honestly. So they hired this fancy PR to handle everything. They haven't reached out to me. They haven't made any statements that are in actual support. They're kind of doing the PR thing where they're just trying to cover themselves. So Yeah, I honestly don't really have respect for the response because it's not necessarily accurate. If they are doing all that they can and, they're trying to handle this matter, I do think an eviction is in order for sure.
So as you said, assault, potentially battery, I'll throw in there in terms of a potential eviction. So you are really working. I want to make sure to bring in our panelists here on this one. Laura, let me first go to you and your questions that you might have for Jamaiya.
Well, Jamaiya, I'm sorry that you went through this. I don't really have a question other than to say I think you should hire an attorney. The statement from Belle Meade was obviously a legal ass cover, trying to sort of dodge any liability for effectively an assault on their property. That's what all that "who shot John" in there about. The packages have to be delivered to the desk, and you effectively snuck into the building. That's all nonsense. And I would have an attorney, and you have several very good attorneys in the Houston area, look over this entire situation. I am curious about the police. Exactly what is the disposition right now of the police?
So I've spoken to an investigator. They've been honestly very slow moving. It wasn't until 10 days after the whole incident that I was even contacted by an investigator. They're kind of not throwing their hands up, but saying that they're hitting a lot of roadblocks in trying to locate her. Thank you so much for the words. And I also agree about the attorney. It has been honestly sort of difficult process. So I'm trying to vet and get on calls as of recently. So as of now, I still have not secured representation in Houston with someone who can practice in Texas. So that call is still out there. I'm monitoring my DMs for lawyers and speaking to people. So, yep, I'm definitely still in search for that.
And if there are attorneys who are out there, reach out right now, right? Because I'm sure that someone is thinking, I can step up and help this young woman. So the next move is on you to actually do that. Dr. Carr, I wanted to hand this over to you. Questions for Jamaiya.
Thank you, Candace. And thank you, Ms. Miller, for being courageous in the face of that. That couldn't have been easy, and I'm sure you're still trying to work through it. You may already know this. The day before this woman assaulted you, the Wisconsin Supreme Court actually opened a trial for Amazon workers, particularly gig workers like you, independent contractors, Amazon Logistics in particular, and Amazon Flex, as to whether or not you all are independent contractors or employees of Amazon. Because if you're an employee of Amazon, then you get the unemployment, you get insurance, you get the rights and benefits, including protections from discrimination. I have a couple of questions in that regard. Has Amazon said anything about their policy as it relates to what I think in terms of the Amazon chain of delivery is the worst job? Namely your job, that last mile thing, because people ask you to put something in front of their door, they don't say nothing about security codes, they don't say nothing about doing it. So you were very inventive to get there, you know what I'm saying? But you know, it kind of echoing what Candace said and what Lauren said, the Amazon may be trying to work through it, but at the same time, if they don't extend you the protection literally to the front door, you know, I guess what I'm asking is, do you know anything about Amazon's policy toward independent contractors? That because they put you all in a terrible situation. If it does it extend literally to the front door? And then the second question is, any thoughts on whether or not Amazon should, you know, Amazon workers are unionizing all over the country, whether or not Amazon should treat you all like independent contractors or employees of Amazon?
That's a really good question. And honestly, my personal feelings are that the gig economy and the independent contractor model is set up to be able to exploit workers and exploit people who need to take advantage of that, like myself, who need the money. But I could go on all day about literally, the independent contractor setup is not appropriate for what we have to do as Amazon Flex drivers. You are doing a job for Amazon. It is a complete and full job. So, you can't do what you want. You have to follow the rules. There is a schedule once you pick up the schedule. So I completely agree that Amazon's independent contractor, that whole structure, them taking advantage of this gig economy is convenient, and maybe also them being super supportive of me is a convenient position for them to take right now. I'm hopeful that they'll lend more support, and that if happy-go-lucky with them, that they'll keep on supporting and maybe even help out on the legal front, because they did mention that is their policy. If something violent happens, that they do a full investigation and decide that if on their behalf they need to pursue legal action against whoever committed the violent act against their employees. So that's all I've heard, honestly, just pretty vague. I'm remaining hopeful because I don't know if I have another choice, because I do want Amazon to be cooperative and help me as much as possible. But yeah, I see definitely where you're coming from with the Amazon critiques, and me and the people I work with in Amazon definitely have the same ones.
And when you talk to other Amazon workers, or I'm not sure if you do, or maybe they've DM'd you, do you hear similar stories that we may not have heard of?
Oh, yeah. I keep on hearing stories of people saying, although it didn't necessarily get to the point of physical violence or nearly as bad. And some people say, yeah, the same thing happened to me, but I wasn't lucky enough to get it on camera, or a lot of different scenarios. So I do believe it is a rampant problem that, like you said, once we're trying to get packages to people's front door, that step, we're very vulnerable. There have been people, just all sorts of things, and there's no real emergency call button, or we don't have I know it seems extreme, but body cams we walk around with, anything like that. There's no protections on that front. So, I mean, I do think Amazon has a long way to go before people like me, the Amazon delivery partners, are made to feel safe.
All right. Well, we will be following up with you. And if there is anybody who, even if you know someone who knows someone, reach out because Jamaiya is vetting people, looking for someone to assist her. You're in a very interesting situation where, again, the whole employee contractor thing, you're just right on the cusp, and no one so far has stepped up for you fully. So hopefully that will happen. And I thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate y'all covering it.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Jamaiya.
A new year for a new you. Curl Prep Natural Hair Solutions at curlprep.com is an amazing organic line for curls, locks, braids, twists, and even those wigs and extensions. Women, men, and children are loving this line. Look at this video and you be the judge. People line up to see this product in action at hair shows, and when they take a seat and try it, they don't believe it's their hair. Buy the products at curlprep.com. It works on all hair types. Use code Roland, that's ROLAND, lowercase letters, to get a 15% discount. Parents, remove the ouch. You will love this system because you can comb the product through your child's hair with your fingers. Seasoned saints are loving the product. It's all at curlprep.com. Use code Roland, lowercase letters, to get a 15% discount. You won't believe it's your hair.